You're listening to the AfterBuzz TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith Johnson.
From the AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California, and streaming live on Ustream, this is AfterBuzz TV for Intervention. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest intervention news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, picking up where the show leaves off and the buzz continues, it's AfterBuzz TV for Intervention.
Hey, welcome to Intervention, Season 11, Episode 8, Tiffany D. I am Tamara Berg, and I'm here with the fabulous and gorgeous Jessie Carrion.
Stop.
And we are ready to talk about, oh my God, Intervention. Now, before we get into the show, though, we do want to talk about the top 3 AfterBuzz downloads on iTunes. Number 3 being South Park. Number 2 being Project Runway, which we love, love, love. And number 1... my show, The Glee Project. Number one for several weeks in a row, actually, except for when certain other people took over when I was on vacation, but now we're back to number 1. So anyway, check out the other shows on iTunes and download some of those shows. We got some great things going on iTunes. So, okay, Intervention, Tiffany D, Meth Addict. Oh my God, I've hardly stopped hyperventilating, right?
I think my leg is still tapping in anxiety.
You were practically kicking me
I
the
was.
whole time.
Yeah.
We both had these nervous tics the whole time. It was intense. Really, really intense.
One of the most intense I think I've ever seen.
I have normally like 2 pages of notes. I have 4 full pages of notes on Tiffany D.
There was plenty. It was that serious.
Yeah. Okay, so and I don't want to be really gleeful about it, but just in the sense that there was a lot of energy. It was a really interesting show. And I usually find that the meth addicts tend to be the most volatile and therefore kind of the most compelling to watch because she had these violent rages, all that kind of stuff. Do you agree with that? I mean, is that kind of...
Yeah, I think they're probably usually the most neurotic and kind of just most likely to fly off the handle, and you never know. So it does obviously make for interesting television.
Right.
But the fact of the matter is this is someone, we're literally watching someone, self-destructing and dying. So you're like, oh, it's fun. Oh no.
So then you have to remember
emotions.
It's real.
It's real.
Stuff.
It's real life.
It's real stuff.
One of the only, I think, shows that you get kind of that real feel. I think that's why I personally, and I'm sure you can relate, it's so engrossing because you're so invested in these people's stories and in Tiffany's story and situation and her family and all this stuff, and it's because it's not the Kardashians. It's this is real,
lives are at stake. Yeah,
the stakes are high. Exactly.
Yeah. It's incredibly compelling, and I've joked about it before, but I really am kind of addicted to Intervention.
Oh no, totally.
Because it's so compelling, and you and I mean, you're the only other person I've actually known who has seen as many episodes as I have, and so we're. Oh my God, do you remember so and so and so and so? And what happened?
I rewatch episodes that I've seen several times, and it's sad. But
it's really
just so
compelling.
Good.
But the other thing that's amazing about it, and part of the reason why I love to watch it, is because this show is changing people's lives. And we can see the good coming out of it.
Yeah.
It absolutely is there. And
so
there's absolutely, right, exactly, most of the time. But there is value because they're always attempting to do something good.
Yeah.
So we have Tiffany, who is 25 years old,
25,
from Escalon, California, which is a little suburb of a suburb, Modesto, kind of farm country, Northern California.
Good, because I had no idea where that was
near
at.
where I
So
grew
I'm glad
up.
you do.
I grew up in the more populated, more urban area, but
this was like farm.
Yeah,
they lived like on a farm.
Northern California farm. So she has been addicted to meth for 9 years since she was 16 years old.
Actually, I think they said she started at 15.
Yeah.
So,
has a 9-year-old son who, oddly, they called Little David all the time.
Yeah.
Maybe there was a Big David in their family. I don't know.
Well,
we didn't
they never
meet
talked
one.
about the father. Well, I mean, name-wise, specifics.
Right.
He was blurred out and stuff. So
right.
I guess.
Yeah, but maybe the baby daddy was David. Yeah, but little David, which I just thought was kind of weird.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't even catch that.
So they drop us right in to Tiffany. You know, smacking her arms and going, I don't have many good veins left.
And I don't know why.
Yeah.
That's the first clue of a problem.
You know what? I will tell you. I happen to have great veins, and I know this because I'm a blood donor. I donate blood.
Yes.
Right on. Let's hear from the Lifesaver
yeah.
blood donors. Yay. And I've been donating blood for so many years that, are you starting to build up scar tissue in your arms?
I don't know. This time, I usually do it on my right because I have a good vein there. This is like so awkward. I have a really great vein on my right, but no, I don't think I've developed scar tissue. I just noticed like the bump lasts a little longer.
Yeah. As you keep doing it, like, because I actually have a little spot right here because you can still see where I donated blood. Like, it was about a month ago that I last donated. So that is a process that is incredibly clean, only happens maximum every 8 weeks. Yeah. You know? And so, but I've been donating blood for, I don't know, 20 years or something like that. And so, and I've started to develop scar tissue over just doing that. So can you imagine how the scar tissue builds up over daily or multiple times daily usage?
And all over your body.
Things like that.
So you couldn't find it anywhere.
Yeah. So there was so much that was interesting and compelling, and really I learned about drug use and all kinds of things with this. So she talked about when you put the meth in your vein, because there are lots of ways that you can deliver it, right? When you put it in your vein, it goes, she described it goes straight up your arm into your throat in this warm feeling, and you cough if it's really good.
If it's really good.
Had you ever heard that before?
I have never, well, I mean, I don't know much about drugs.
Me
I'm
too.
a good,
I know.
perfect angel. But,
blood donors. Blood donors. We have to. We're like the cleanest
exactly.
people ever. Yeah.
Yeah. But no. Yeah. That was really. I've never heard that before. And I've dabbled with. I did a show. Rant that kind of did a lot of stuff with drugs and stuff. So we kind of had a lot of documentaries on different drug use and whatnot when we were in rehearsal. But at no point was
as an acting job you're talking about, right?
Yes, as an acting job. Yes. I just. It's weird, and that's a good, like, I get to cough. That's how I know it's good. Right. But it's also interesting to hear someone describe kind of what it feels like, because, I don't do it. Yeah, I wouldn't know. But it's weird to know, like, it starts here, and then it moves up your arm into your throat, which, if it goes to the cough, then it's good.
Then you've got really good stuff there. Yeah. I just thought that was fascinating.
Yeah.
And then, like everyone, she says, it just makes me forget my problems. Yeah. It makes me feel good. It makes me feel like I can conquer the world.
Yeah. And that's always what's so, I think, just fascinating to me about this show and about addiction, about that idea of, people say it all the time. Like when I take that one last hit, or when I take that drink, or when I do that, like I just feel like powerful. And obviously there's a degree to it, liquid courage and alcohol and whatnot. Yes. Obviously there is something, but then nobody goes anywhere. It's like you end up, it's like, well, if you feel that way, wouldn't you think that you would be more productive? Because you feel like
it's not sustainable and it's not real.
Yeah.
It's not real. It's an artificial sense of power. So, it can't be sustained. So Tiffany goes on to say, I'm not an addict. And the reason I know is because I choose when I use. And her mother, I think it was her mother, was saying, Tiffany's constantly coming to me and saying, no, I've been clean for 4 days. It's always 4 days, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah, and she thinks that she's fooling me, but I know.
Right. I know, exactly. Yeah. And so then the heartbreaker who comes in is the grandma. Both grandparents. I mean, I have such a soft spot in my heart for grandparents, and because I believe, as probably you do, having your Latin background, you revere your elders, right?
Yes, for sure.
And they bring wisdom, they bring tradition, And to not honor that is just so wrong to me.
Rude in the first place.
Yeah, exactly. And so, anything that they say, and I just really have a real, my family actually makes fun of me. My sisters make fun of me. They're like, oh, you and the old ladies, you're always helping the old ladies across the street. What about you and your old ladies? Because I know I'm going to be one day.
We all are.
And I
Let's be
want
honest.
somebody to treat me like I'm treating them.
Yeah.
So they always have my heart whenever I see the grandparents coming in, and seeing a grandparent cry over a grandchild is just one of the most painful things.
It is, especially when they're like, her grandparents were so cute and so agile and not aggressive or anything. So it makes you even more angry when you're like, but you're being
look at these wonderful people that you're manipulating, right?
Yeah.
So, Grandma Mabel says, she used to be so beautiful. And I'm not just saying that because I'm her grandma. And she was. She was an incredibly cute child, right? She had this beautiful, round, kind of angelic-looking face.
Very different from
gorgeous skin, right? She had this gorgeous skin. That was one of the things I noticed. Until then, we went into the first. I mean, this whole episode, the first 7 minutes,
it was
Jesse and I were
minutes.
like crawling out of our seats because there was so much going on.
Yeah. It just came. Usually they kind of ease their way into it. It was just like right out the gate, you see mean, stuff with their grandparents and picking at the
so let's talk about that. Go ahead, talk about that.
That was probably the darkest 15 minutes of my day today when I saw her pick at her skin. Mm-hmm. It's they said it's a thing of meth that you just kind of fixate on one thing and you just keep going. And I don't really know why, like, if she's picking at something specific, or is it literally, am I just picking?
Is there a blemish that she's working on? Because some of us pick our faces sometimes.
Exactly. Or is it just like, I'm going to pick here right now and rip off my flesh.
Well, I mean, you've heard meth addicts called tweakers before, right?
Yes,
have you heard that term?
I've heard that.
I never really knew what that meant until this particular episode where they talked about the act of fixating on something and only being able to focus on that and only be able to do that. That's tweaking.
Yeah.
So, and they said that often in the CG, they said often the tweaking path that they're going down, the behavior that they're fixating on is almost always self-injury, right?
Yeah, and it was horrific. Like, she had flat out holes on her face.
She did,
like flat out holes, and she tried to like cake it on with what. Yeah. It was an attempt, but it just made it even more awkward. And I guess it helped a little bit because before, I mean, it was literally, I've seen some crackhead faces, but that was like.
Well, and one of the things that I've heard about many times and seen in people that I've known and met is the thing about your teeth. Teeth are the big issue with meth addicts, which is why that's the reason why I'll never do meth because I love my teeth. Okay. No, but seriously, I just was reading recently that part of the reason why teeth you have such bad decay on your teeth when you're doing meth is that saliva production is diminished greatly with the act of ingesting the meth. And so when you don't have saliva, teeth are just, when they're not bathed in saliva and being cleaned by the saliva, they just rot.
That is
Plus,
just gross.
Meth causes you to have a craving for sweets. Like sugar, specifically, hardcore sugar, chocolate. So those two things with your teeth not being cleaned the natural way and you craving sweets, so you lose your teeth. I'd never really known about this tweaking thing and about why their skin is so bad, and that's the thing. And
I've heard about the skin, the picking. So I knew when she was at the mirror. Yeah, when she was at the mirror, I was like, oh, she's going to be picking her. And obviously her face was jacked up.
We were practically crawling out of our seats, you and I.
It was bad.
Ooh.
It was really bad.
And then the other thing is these intense rages, the snapping, going from having a normal conversation to just watching that rage wash over her face and throwing the phone. And it was incredibly disturbing, wasn't it?
It was. And I think that's what's so scary is that, they said you could be, the brother said that you could be she could be 4 different people at one time. Mm-hmm. And what do you do? What do you do with that?
Yeah.
It's really crazy because you're going from such extremes of, well, happiness wasn't really an extreme for her.
No.
So I guess just flop in between anger and
just
vindictiveness.
Intensity,
just intensity
all the time.
for sure.
It's always intensity.
Yeah.
So, so we get to find out, here's her story. We find out that she sells drugs in order to make money to buy drugs. So sells up to $500 a day.
Yeah.
To feed her own habit. And that just seems like, to an addict, that seems like, awesome, this is the best job ever. I'm going to sell the drugs so that I can have the drugs.
Yeah.
But if you look into it at all, I'm going to sell the drugs. Oh, wait, instead of selling them, why don't I inject them? I mean, it's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
Not that everything within this whole drug world is not a recipe for disaster, but that's such a recipe for disaster. So she sells drugs.
Yeah.
And did they say how long she had done it?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so. But it was interesting for her to hear her say that she was like, I love the whole process of it. I love weighing it. I love putting it in the bags. And like it was this whole industrial manufacturing company that she was doing in this.
She's a businesswoman.
Yes. I'm an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
I weigh meth.
I get the little baggie.
Yeah. And she was like, she said it with like a sense of pride. Yeah. So that was funny because usually, they have other people on the show that sell drugs. It's not a new thing. And they're just like, yeah, I sell my drugs. Or at least she didn't prostitute.
Yeah.
I was kind of waiting for that.
Yeah, that was a surprise.
Yeah, so I was
like one of the few times we haven't seen that happen.
So I was like, whew, at least she's selling drugs.
Yeah. But so she's been arrested 20 times.
Yeah.
Did they even say? Some of it was possession?
Drug possession. And then the main one was the growing marijuana at home on her farm.
Right. Well, it's farm town. It's farmland.
That's what you do on the farm.
And the point where it really started hitting me, like emotionally it hit me, and where I actually teared up the first time was she said, I hate dealing with life. And then her grandpa came on. And I was like, oh, geez, not the grandpa. Because you bring the grandpa on, I'm going to start crying.
Yeah. Because he could barely sit up. Like they were like.
Frail, right?
Oh, yeah. He had like maybe an inch of meat. Otherwise than that, he was just walking bones. So. And
the first time we see Kenneth talk, Grandpa, he says something to the effect of, "This is the worst thing I've ever experienced." I mean, he went on a
pretty
little
much
bit
in his
with
life,
that,
which you have to assume is like what 80.
Yeah, he's got to be
years.
over 80.
He must have gone through wars and other horrific stuff. That this is the most damaging thing from someone who's family and younger at that, which I think is
when parents obviously care about their kids so much, but then there's this extra special kind of layer that goes on to the relationship between grandparents and grandchildren, because there's the sort of separation of not having direct responsibility for them sometimes, which I think adds like the extra layer of love, in a certain way. And so it's doubly heartbreaking to see the relationship between a grandparent and a grandchild be strained that way.
Yeah, and also I think just in general with the show and why it's so good is because you see how we all know that the drug addict their life is a hot mess. What's really fascinating is how it affects and what the domino effect is for each member in the family, all the way, from the littlest sibling to the child to, it's such a full encompassing disease that affects the whole entire family that it's weird to see how each one it does. Sometimes there's bitterness between the siblings, and there was kind of a little bit about with her brothers. For sure. And that's a common thing that so much attention is focused on the
and there was some resentment there.
Oh yeah.
For sure.
And then to the parents, and obviously her and her mom had a severely strained relationship, which is sad because they were good. It's sad when you always hear at the beginning of the thing when they show like all the little happy little pictures, and it was like we were really close, we went shopping and blah blah blah, and then it's just like one day everything changes. Yeah. I mean, I guess it's not one day. But.
Yeah, it's not, but often there is a catalyst. So Lisa is the mom. Chuck was her stepdad. Chuck, we didn't see him that often, but every time he was on screen, to me, he seemed incredibly reasonable and incredibly kind. Like one of the things he talked about was that Lisa, the mom. Oh, actually, so we get into. Let's get into this, and then we'll come back to Chuck. birth father not around, really, very much. Lisa said, I felt like a single mom. Everything was really tense when birth dad was there. We fought a lot. And when Tiffany was age 11, mom said, you know what, we need to get divorced. Yep. So, and then immediately starts dating the soccer coach.
Yeah.
Which really upset Tiffany.
Which is
Tiffany's
soccer coach, which is awkward.
Yeah.
Anyways. And especially so soon after.
Yeah. Yeah.
After a divorce.
But, you know, also probably mom was looking for something positive in her life after having a terrible relationship with her first husband. So, I mean, you understand.
So she's entitled to do that. But also, again, everything you do has a
consequence.
Yes, exactly.
So then Tiffany, in her way to rebel, started hanging out with the bad kids, right? And getting into trouble at age, 11 or 12 years old. And then at age 12 says, Mom, they didn't say when this happened, but at some point in the past, she told her mom at age 12 that she had been molested as a child.
I thought she was molested at age 12. Oh,
at 12 was when she told her mom.
Gotcha.
And her mom tried to talk to her about it, tried to say something, and Tiffany was like, I just want to forget about it. I want to just move on. And then mom immediately picks up the phone and starts talking to, other family members about what was reported.
Which was a big deal for Tiffany because Tiffany said, no, I want to move on. I want to be done with it. And she felt betrayed.
Totally.
She could have at least waited. Let's be honest. She could have at least waited like the next day or something. Or not do it like right in front of her face.
Exactly.
Like,
that's
excuse
the thing.
me. I'm going to go.
Right.
Oh my God, you have to hear what happened.
When if mom doesn't know how to cope with that sort of thing, had never been through it, maybe called a family member to say, I need your help trying to figure out how to navigate through this situation that I don't know, I'm not familiar with. But you don't do it in front of the victim.
It was just set up especially by Tiffany, that it was literally, don't tell anyone. Okay. Walk to the next room. Like it was really that instant. And then she said from that moment.
Of course she's going to feel betrayed.
Yeah. Trust was gone.
Yep.
Trust died that day.
That's it. And so then at age 15, Tiffany tries meth.
Now is meth, is meth one of those ones that like you try it once and then?
Yes. It's that drug that you can get addicted to the first time.
First time, yeah.
Yep.
I have it, my heart beat. That gives me anxiety.
I know, me too.
Just one time and your whole...
That scares the living daylights out of me. The first time I heard that, I was like, I don't even want to be in the same city as meth.
No, I know.
Not because I don't have a particularly addictive personality or anything like that. But I've heard stories. I have friends who have family members who have become addicted on the first try. Yeah. That's so scary to me.
Because anybody can say like, oh, well, I'll just try it once.
Yeah, and that's how it always starts.
Well, there's the end of your life. Yeah.
And so she tried it. She felt warm, said, I like this. I'm going to keep doing it. And then got pregnant at age 20.
Yep.
So, and again, people who have loss in their lives, have void in their lives, especially women, want to have a child to fill that void, right?
Yeah. And it's always funny
the story
that they say
unconditionally. I'm sure our Jessie can talk about 16 and pregnant. It's kind of the premise of it,
Yeah, they always say that, I just wanted someone to love me for me and unconditionally.
Because obviously they haven't had that. Dad wasn't around to do that. Mom was trying to figure her own way out. Stepdad, I don't know when he came into their lives. Do you know?
No, I was confused on. I thought maybe he was a coach.
Oh yeah, I don't know.
But then it didn't really kind of.
They never filled in that blank for us.
Yeah, it just kind of was like, and then she went to the coach, and then she has a stepdad, so I was like, oh okay.
Yeah, who that is. But yeah, so he didn't fill that for her, and by age 12, 13 years old, it's pretty hard to figure out. That's when you've got hormones starting to rage. You're trying to figure out how to navigate your way through through society of school. Everybody is mean to everybody when you're 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 years old. And so there are so many things you're trying to figure out. When you can find one thing that works and it happens to be drugs, it makes sense. It does make sense in a certain way.
It does. And, a lot of times when those kids go to, and not even kids, adult people go to the wayward, group of kids or people,
the
or whatever.
Outcasts.
Yes, they find a sense of family within that. So that's what. It's not only do you have the biological physical, connection
Mm-hmm.
of the high from the drug, but you're also getting some kind of sense of community from
a false sense.
A false sense.
However, it
but
seems
a sense
real.
nonetheless.
And
Yeah.
it seems real.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so, okay, so then interesting, she's totally stopped doing drugs while she was pregnant.
Yep.
Right?
Yes.
Fascinating. And so, little David was born. I just realized my hair is all crazy. Why didn't you guys tell me this?
That's nothing. For guys, it's like, oh, you have a little tuft of hair.
Jesse,
That's
I
not
blame
scary.
you. And you too, Joe. You should have told me. Okay, it's better, right? I can't see because
You have the nice blue illumination, so
yeah,
you're
okay.
fine.
So yeah,
It's a
got
halo
the blue
effect.
behind. Is it better now? You're not even going to tell me. Okay, so
We were just gonna say you look great. So keep going. You're doing well.
Yeah, I believe you. I want the real love, not the fake.
Yes,
love.
not
I want the real community. So the baby daddy was
Yes.
abusive, and but this was so classic. We were watching Celebrity Rehab last night. Did you happen to catch it?
I did not.
Okay. But I love him. Dr. Drew, I don't care. But I love him. I don't care. But I love him. I don't care. So, it's that kind of dynamic
Yeah.
of, but I love him. No, you don't. You
Yeah.
think you do because you're all on drugs and it's
Yeah.
all crazy. So anyway, they finally broke up 2 years ago. And that was when she decided, you know what? I'm sad. I don't have love in my life. And if I'm going to be miserable,
Yeah, may as well be
might as
high.
well be high.
Yeah, and I think the big
Perfect
catalyst
logic.
for her was he kicked her out. She said he kicked her out of her own home. So I don't know how that works. 'Cause
Yeah.
I'd be like, no, you get out.
Yeah.
But once that happened, she was like, yeah, I'm done. And I don't know what they didn't really did she have David at that time?
Well, they said that
Eventually-
once she got kicked out, that little David started living with relatives, but they didn't really
that's
say
right, that's
who
right.
with. But obviously, she spends time with him from time to time.
Yeah.
And that was, if we could ever get to, if we could ever get to the point of actually having a conversation with her in the intervention, that's your bargaining chip is your child.
Yeah.
Because she clearly loved him, clearly loved spending time with him. In the opening, talked about how this is my purpose.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's so lost and muddled in all the drugs, and it's they always say, oh, I want to live a better life for my kids, but they just can't shake.
Yeah.
They can't shake it.
Yeah.
And there was another thing that someone else had said that that the grandparents think that love is enough.
Right.
And I think that's sometimes happens with the addicts too, where they're like, well, but I love my kids, so
Right.
it's okay.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Yeah. It's
You're
their
not healthy.
excuse.
You're gone.
Yeah. Okay, so another one of the incredibly compelling moments was the whippets
Yeah.
with the new boyfriend.
What
Okay,
is
once again,
let's.
something I've never heard
The more
of.
you know. Do the more you know star.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I had no
The more
idea
you know.
what whippet was.
So it's an inhalant.
Wait a minute. I want to.
Yeah, bring it.
Yeah. So I'm from. This is so bad. I'm from Cape Cod, Massachusetts, and when I was in high school, I actually learned what a whippet was. I thought it was going to be, hey, do you want to whip it? I thought it was food. I thought it was
Or a dance move, right?
I thought it was something positive, you know.
Sure.
I was offered a whip it during my high school years. Lo and behold, we see the whipped cream cans.
Yep.
I'm like, great, Sundays,
Right.
food of
Oh,
some
you're
sort,
so
like
sweet and wholesome in high school.
s'mores. Like, what are we
Right.
doing? What kind of fun is this? All of a sudden, they start shaking them up, and they're like, you have to tilt it at this specific angle. And they're inhaling
So
it.
that the cream doesn't actually come out, you get the gas coming out at you instead. Right?
Oh.
First of all, and I'm not going to put the company's name out, but this was while I was working at the specific company who serves delicious ice cream, and they have like the intense whipped cream
like
cans.
the industrial size.
Industrial
Okay.
size.
Mm-hmm.
So the whipping air is amazing for these people. Like people used to come steal them. Like we
my
really
gosh,
had to
sure.
like watch our whipped cream.
Wow.
Right. Right.
So yes, I was offered this, and I was like, that's a little awkward and weird for me. Not really going to be my drug, like we say on
Yeah.
reality celebrity rehab, not my drug of choice.
Not my drug of choice.
And yeah, they go to town with it. And then after that, I don't know if she did it, but after they did the whipping with that, they would take a paper bag and then they would inhale really like fast afterwards.
With the balloons, just your exhale.
Does it work with a balloon?
Yeah, well, I don't know. They didn't use balloons. They just would use like a paper. She used a balloon.
Okay.
Oh, I thought the whipping was the balloon.
No.
So they did something before that was the whip it.
Or they put the inhalant in the balloon. They didn't make it clear, but it could have been either of that. So go on, Jesse.
Okay. But that would
so she did it with a balloon.
Okay, that would also explain the helium.
That works too.
So yeah, they would do the whip it with the whipped cream, and then after that they would take a paper bag and they would just keep breathing into the bag, really heavily, and then they would just sit there and like just lay back.
Yep.
That's exactly what she did.
That is this episode of Intervention.
Exactly what it was. I was like,
when you get to watch it later, you'll get to see it and relive some of your high school.
Yeah, yes.
I'm going back inside. You guys enjoy whatever you're doing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But again, on the graphic, they said some of the things that could result from doing whippets are suffocation, brain damage, stroke, heart, all those nasty things.
Everything that was on this episode was death.
Yeah.
It was like everything she was doing was on the verge of death.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it'll be like, will cause, bleeding and and
ulcers.
Stuff that's like, oh, that sucks, but it's not. But this one was like death. You will die. Mm-hmm. So don't whip it.
Whippets are bad.
Yeah.
So, and then she talks about Tim, her new boyfriend, and why she's attracted to him.
Yes, because as I'm sure all women look for in a man, he's manipulative. And that's a very attractive trait. That's kind of when I'm working on stuff. I'm like, I hope I look really manipulative for those women out there. So
step it up, right? Exactly. And manipulativeness, and then his intelligence.
Yes. Because he had so many nuggets of wisdom. And he was abusive. And you could obviously tell he was abusive, calling her stupid, emotionally abusive. Mm-hmm. But again, it kind of goes back to the cliche daddy syndrome of or abuse, where you kind of still go down those relationships in the future.
And the same thing. She stated the same thing that she's been stating all along. I want somebody who will believe in me and stick with me through thick and thin.
Yeah.
AKA unconditionally love me.
Yep.
Yeah. It's really what everybody wants. And well, I don't need to get too deep about it, but really, the thing is you got to find that in yourself, not in other people. That's the bottom line of that.
Yes.
But we can get into that later. So then Mom talked about how Tiffany feels she needs to be punished. Was that what she was saying? And that she deserves to be punished? Yeah. Right. Okay.
And she related it again to her, I guess, the relationship with the father.
Okay, yeah. With Tiffany's birth father.
With Tiffany's birth father. That there was some kind of dynamic there that she feels she needs to continue with this idea of punishment.
Right, that the home was abusive when Tiffany was younger, and so she's comfortable with that. That's what you learn. You live what you learn.
Oh, and this, to some degree, that might be what she equates as love. So it's sad. Yes, it's very sad.
Rehab, you'll learn something else. I was so anxious at this point. I think that was when I was pointing out your foot, jiggling, and I was like, we were both like sitting all like hunkered down in the chairs. I was so anxious through this whole show, and we're not even halfway through yet. I still have like 2 more pages of notes. So then we move on to the grandparents. Okay.
Yes. Because she moved. She got her mom kicked her out. Yeah, her mom kicked her out, so she moved in with the grandparents, and they're just, I think, the worst enablers I've ever seen. Yeah. I mean, hands down. I mean, everything. They didn't even say oh, we don't want to, but we do it because we're nervous that she'll find another way of doing it. They were just flat out like, yes, we will buy you a car, we will buy your clothes.
There was no hesitation, no reservation, nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was absolutely,
she was 30,
coasting. Do you have 20, 30, 50, 175,
I need somewhere between $10 and $1 million,
yeah.
which works.
And Grandpa's like, it's in the other room. You know what? Let me get it for you. Gave her money, gave her a place to live. Because she's not working right now. Yeah. Bought her a new car and made it very comfortable for her to be a drug addict.
Yeah. I was jealous. I was like, geez, I want to live with your grandparents.
I know. I could get a nice car with them. And Kenneth says, I don't know what kind of drugs she does, but I heard she smokes a joint every once in a while.
Yeah, well, because also, too, Tiffany's friend
Katie.
Which they never kind of discussed how she was friends. If she's still friends, was she friends with her before she was?
Is she a drug friend? Is she a not drug friend?
I was confused on that relationship. But she was like, I don't think they even know what meth is. I mean,
I would imagine they don't. Why would they?
Yeah. So for them also too, I don't know if that was ever explained, but if, they're thinking like, oh, like, well, back in my day, we did a couple of joints. Right. So it's not that big of a deal. It's like, why is everyone, tripping over a couple of joints? It's like, no, it's crystal meth. I don't know what that is.
Except the dichotomy of that is that Kenneth was saying, this is the worst thing I've ever been through in my life.
Yeah.
So
he knows.
Clearly denying the reality of the situation. He's clearly not wanting to own up to his participation in it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But I understand that because he doesn't have the skills to deal with it. That's why we bring in an interventionist. That's because people don't know that there's a method to the madness and there's a way to get through it, and there are steps that you can go through to prevail in the end. So the grandparents just continue to break my heart over and over again. So the next thing we see is Tiffany going to her mom's to steal beer. Yeah. Because if I can steal the beer, then I don't have to show up with the snacks, and that's $10 extra I can put towards my drugs.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Flat out to his face, asked for the $30. She said she had taken some of her own drugs that she was supposed to sell, so she had to compensate for that. And then apparently whatever they had at the house was not enough, so she had to go over. Make the extra effort to drive to her mom's house, who they don't get along with anyways.
And wasn't it interesting how she walked through the door? She walks in the door. Hey, Mom.
Yeah.
Do you have an iPod charger? Yeah. So that Mom's off on her diversion,
the other way,
right? And so that Tiffany can go into the garage and steal the beer.
Yeah. Literally passed it, did this little exchange in the garage to the guy outside. I can't remember his name, but
Tim,
yes. Good old Tim. Yeah, he was forgettable.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then did that, waltzed right back in, and
and no consequences, no reality at all to her walking in and stealing things from Mom.
Yeah. I don't even know if the mom noticed.
Probably not.
I don't know. But at that point, that's when they had kind of alluded to the fact that she just flat out said, I can't trust her.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that was because she realized.
And Tiffany's response to that was, my mom is not very supportive.
Yeah.
No, she's not.
Yeah. She's not supportive.
Not very supportive of your drug habit and you killing yourself. And interesting, I don't know how old her, she had 2 brothers. Is that what it looked like?
Yeah. Definitely got a younger feel.
I would think so. But not like kids, you know.
Yeah, no, not kids.
Young adults.
Yeah, if she's 25, then maybe the one that was kind of blonder, not the long-haired one. He seemed maybe like a little older than the younger guy.
21
still,
and 18 or something like that.
but still younger than her. I still got the feeling that she
22 and 20, something like that. And they, her addiction has clearly robbed them of relationships because Mom said, I think I wrote it down a little bit later, 90% of your life is trying to keep her alive. That's of my life is trying to keep you alive.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if that's where all of her attention is going, here are these other kids being totally neglected, and how long has that been going on?
Yeah, and then it might go, the cycle continues where then they don't have a sense of family because you're rocking the boat the way your dad previously rocked the boat, and then that's what's sucks about this stuff is that it happens, and then maybe it'll happen again to the boys.
Next generation,
and then it just keeps passing on.
But it seems to me that the reason why Lisa was doing that was because she said that she would give anything to take back the molestation that happened to Tiffany. And so she's trying to make up for it, which you can never make up for in that way.
Yeah.
You have to just apologize, move on, and try and support however you can. And this is what I was talking about Chuck, the current stepfather.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's Lisa. I don't know if it's Lisa's mom's husband or boyfriend, but he was saying, she has to forgive herself.
Yeah.
Here it's been 13 years later that you find out about this. You have to forgive yourself for how you acted in that situation, the fact that you maybe didn't handle it right. Yeah. You can't just keep reliving that over and over. It doesn't make it better. It doesn't fix it.
Be the same.
And I thought that was really wise of him to say, because a lot of the people who are involved in these situations don't have that kind of wisdom. And I was very impressed with him.
I think it also, I think there might be something to say too that he's not directly related to her. I wonder if it's sometimes easier for someone to be like, well, that's not my kid. That's not my blood.
Right.
So you can kind of have an outside perspective with a sense of clarity that wouldn't be if you were so invested, because I mean, obviously sometimes, blood doesn't have to, make the family.
Of course. But sometimes
it seemed like he definitely had enough to kind of distance himself and kind of assess everything and be the reasonable one.
And I thought that was a really wonderful thing, because we've talked about forgiveness on some of the other shows. I think it was Celebrity Rehab. We were talking about forgiveness, and some people don't understand it because forgiveness seems like permission. Like, I permit you to do the wrongs that you've done, and I think that it's okay. And there's the difference between that and forgiving you so that we are both released of the pain that situation created.
Yeah.
And if I can get to a point of forgiving you, then we are both released from that and can move on. And I wholeheartedly support the idea of forgiveness.
I think the problem with them too is that because Tiffany didn't want to talk about it, that if you can't talk about those things,
you stay stuck.
Yeah, it's like a cancer. It'll just kill you.
Yep.
And I think that hasn't helped with the healing process for either of them, because I think there's definitely things that Tiffany has not stated that needs to come off of her chest, and there's definitely things, maybe questions or things going on with her mom that kind of just need to get out there and kind of get a clean air. But if you're not even gonna,
it just festers. It's a wound that festers, like you're saying.
She just wanted to pretend it never happened.
Yeah.
Like, there's a difference of saying, like, I don't talk about it. Like, she was just like, it never happened.
Right.
It's like, no, it wasn't a dream. It really did happen.
And it needs to be dealt with.
It needs to be dealt with.
Yeah. So then we go to Grandma Mabel finding syringes in Tiffany's bedroom.
And again, cute. She's so cute. She's so scared of her, of getting, this riled rage reaction, because
I'm gonna put him in this box and hide him up here in the laundry room.
Because
I
don't want to deal with it.
Yeah. It's such a manifestation of that. I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to talk about
so I'm
it.
Gonna seal it up and put it away. It's all imagery. Yeah, that's exactly what was happening.
And Kenneth talking about it, saying, we talked about confronting her about it, right? And we decided we're not going to confront her because we don't tell our grandkids what to do.
Yeah.
I kind of get it, but there's a difference between meddling and giving guidance.
Yes.
There's a reason why you get wisdom with age, and that wisdom can be imparted to others is a good thing.
I don't think also too, like, they didn't have to tell, like, it didn't have to be, a reprimanding thing. I wonder what would have happened if it was just like, we found these.
Yeah.
Well, I guess she would have just lied.
Yeah, but in the very next scene, Tiffany's outside with Mabel, and Mabel's going, I just wanted to say, and Tiffany all of a sudden is like, what do you think you're doing? You're saying I'm doing well, and you're blah, 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 blah. Just ready to fight and be combative right off the bat.
And her grandma's like, I'm sorry. Here's
$30.
Yeah.
God.
Just drive safe. Make sure you go to the court, because she had a court.
Exactly.
Opponent.
Yeah. And again, the heartbreaking moment, I'm afraid she'll find out that Grandma and Grandpa have pulled things behind her back, and I'm scared to death. So they're clearly afraid that they will lose their relationship with Tiffany if
that was a very deep feeling from them. You could see it, like, literally in Mabel's eyes of, like, that was a big fear. Not that, she'll get mad and break something or whatever, is that, she'll know that we went behind her back and trying to help her.
Yeah. But they didn't have the skills, the experience, the knowledge of how that works.
Yeah.
How they're enabling Tiffany is what's fueling her and helping her continue with what.
Yeah.
I mean, they just didn't get it. They just didn't get it. So we moved to Candy Finnigan, who was the interventionist for this one.
Yes.
And
who's
you know,
by far the best interventionist.
She's excellent,
she's
isn't she?
She's just awesome because she's still kind of got that, bad.
She's a bit of a badass,
yes,
right?
Okay, I didn't know if I could say
yeah,
it.
You can.
So I was like,
bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was ass. Badass. Yeah, but she still like has, she's able to kind of relate and kind of be sensitive to what they're going through, but still have enough edge to be like, don't walk on me.
Yeah.
But I'm here, to kind of help.
Yep.
Yeah,
I think
Candy.
she's fantastic.
Yeah.
She doesn't love you like crazy.
No, exactly. That's what I was saying. I was like, I can't quite say her, speeches verbatim the way I can.
By the way, Jeff was the interventionist on last week's show.
Oh, yeah.
And he didn't say these people love you like crazy.
Oh, no.
I was stunned and amazed.
No,
I was
angry.
quoting him,
Yeah.
and Michelle was sitting next to me going, "Wait a second, he didn't say his line. What do we do?" He didn't do it. I think he may have heard us.
Yeah, he did. He probably got wind of it and was like, I don't want to be fodder on AfterBuzz TV
on
anymore.
AfterBuzz.
So I'm gonna slow my roll there.
Yeah. So anyway, so Candy's fantastic, and so they bring up, first of all, she says to Lisa, the mom, you need to go into family treatment. Yeah. Betty Ford Clinic, God bless Betty Ford, created this wonderful clinic that's made for families to help them with enabling situations. We're going to send you, and from here on out, we lost the script. Like the normal method of how intervention goes did not happen. And I still got 2 pages on my notes to talk about. Yeah, it went all crazy from here. Because normally what we do is we go in, they start reading their letters, they get coaching from the interventionist, they talk about their bottom lines, they talk about all of that kind of stuff. And the whole thing was just out of whack, right?
Well, yeah, because the pre-intervention went faulty when she kind of really realized how bad Mabel and Kenneth were, that they weren't
how
conducive.
shaky they were.
Yeah,
they were totally not committed to it.
Not committed, that they did not have any bottom lines, that they wouldn't commit to, really enforcing some rules so that Tiffany would hit her bottom.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I can't remember if, was it at the pre-intervention that Candy was like, okay, you're not going to be doing this. Okay, so it wasn't.
Well, and what she said was, this was the great quote of the day, and we've heard it before, but I just really heard it very clearly today. Nothing changes if nothing changes.
Yeah.
So if you keep doing what you're doing, you're going to get the same behavior from Tiffany.
Yeah.
Right.
Same as well.
And so why are we even here?
Yeah.
And the grandparents still didn't even get that. They were like, but we don't want to change because we love our granddaughter.
Yeah. Yeah. And then they had the little meeting outside where they were still talking. And they're like, I guess
I don't know if I can tell her that.
Home. Yeah. Oh, yeah. She was like, I tell you, I don't think I can say no. I won't give you money or anything.
And the other thing that Candy said was that you asked for help.
Yeah.
This is what help looks like.
Yeah. And because she said that, what do you call it? Wow, I just had a complete...
I'm sorry, I totally pulled you off of what it was. Well, Grandpa going outside...
You know what, guys?
Yeah.
I hate to break you up right now, but since this is such a intense intervention episode.
Yes.
I'm going to shoot us to a commercial break so we can take a little break and then we'll come back with
Excellent. Good idea, Jesse. Because we need to breathe.
Yeah. My brain, it was starting to shut down.
All right, let's go to commercial.
Want to find out what the AfterBuzz is about?
Janice is a drama queen.
This is the divide that is going to carry the series.
Give us a call. 424-256-1729. 424-256-1729.
It's television, and they want it to be as dramatic as possible.
I mean, it's Shakespearean.
You never know what goes on behind closed doors.
Find out why AfterBuzz TV is the #1 source for after-show content.
Now, in the eyes of Jimmy, Nucky is a villain.
424-256-1729. 424-256-1729.
I mean, who would you guys rather hear that from? Your husband or your best friend?
The wig will come out.
When the TV show is over, get your AfterBuzz on.
Okay, we're back, and I want to remind you to check out the other downloads on iTunes. Glee Project, Project Runway, South Park, lots of other shows on there, lots of dramas, some great stuff to look at on iTunes. Okay, so you were right mid-thought when we went to commercial.
I had a brain fart, but now I didn't.
You're back.
Anymore. Yeah, it's all the air is clean. If you
okay,
will. That her grandparents had stated that if Tiffany had a choice, she wasn't going to go.
Right.
She wasn't going to go.
Right.
And the intervention obviously was a choice to stay or go. She was like, I have no hope that she's going to go then. So
they were totally not open to the possibility of her choosing to go because they're not experienced in this world. They don't know that there's a really clear process that you go through. You know, you go and you get better. You don't go and your life changes and everything that you've had supporting you is not going to be there for you. So
then
it's
that
clear
promotes changes.
Yeah, exactly. So, but they didn't get it. They just didn't get it.
And of course, what they didn't get obviously made the episode even more intense because she the grandparents told Tiffany about the intervention.
Tiffany, oh my God, they're doing an intervention on you. You better run. I mean, how there's nothing worse. I mean, they completely sabotaged the whole process.
It was just a huge epic fail of
epic fail
of really big proportions. And I literally, it was just a mess after that. Just a hot mess all over the place.
Yeah. So now they're chasing Tiffany around town. They're trying to find her. They know that she's supposed to show up to court. And you and I were having a conversation at that time. What do they think? Think she's going to show up to court? Well, she doesn't go to court. She goes to jail. So...
but at that point, they didn't even know where Tiffany was because when her grandparents had, kind of relayed that information that, like, there's this intervention, just go and talk, she packed her bags and she bounced. She was out of there.
Yeah.
And nobody knew where she was. So that's why they were hoping they would find
chasing
her.
Chasing her around town, doing as Candy call it, good old on the street intervention.
Yes, intervention, taking it to the streets. That was awesome. Again, another reason why Candy is just hysterical.
Yeah. Oh, one more thing I wanted to say about Candy was she sent Kenneth and Mabel home because she said they're doing more harm than good. They're not doing anything. And I thought, I often talk about how I would be a hard ass in these kind of situations and I'd be, okay, you out because you are not doing us any good. She was incredibly kind to them, which I so appreciated. And I hope that in that situation I would be that way. I fear that I would probably be like,
a little annoyed. But I think...
But I thought she was really kind because they were clearly not on board and clueless.
Yes.
And so she just said, let's part ways. You can go.
But she also made them feel like... I think she had said something to make them feel like they had helped.
Yes.
Like, like they had committed or provided something to the table in helping, which... It's sweet because they didn't. But I guess what they did was say I can't.
They did the best that they could.
Yeah.
They came from what they knew.
Yeah.
And that was the best that they could do.
Yeah.
So we have one shot to see if we can make Tiffany go to rehab, and Tiffany said no.
She didn't.
I was so nervous at this point. I wrote it down on here that I was just like palms were sweating, feet were jiggling.
They were
like holding my
on a hunt for her, and there's like it's like a car chase scenario.
It was
like
chaos.
You're the anticipation of what's gonna happen because so much already that we know from the kind of the blueprint of what an intervention episode was already at this point just shot out the window.
Yep.
So I didn't know what was gonna happen. I didn't know. That's why it was so nerve-wracking because I'd never seen anything like this before where they clicked out grandparents and had to meet the people at
and
court.
Then what did happen was surprising as well. She had a fist fight with her brother.
She had a fist fight with like her entire family.
Yeah. I was shocked by that. I was so shocked.
She punched him twice, smack in the face, like directly in the face. And like what's even more endearing is that he didn't get angry. It wasn't like, like an initial sense of, if someone hits you, you kind of want to be like, what?
Yeah.
I'm going to hit you back.
Yeah.
No, it was like the whole time. He was still saying, I love you, like, and trying to grab her, like even as she was punching him in the face.
And then you see him some minutes later sobbing.
I got a little teary-eyed on that part.
A little? Are you kidding me?
No, I have to butch it up.
No, you can't. No, okay. I was absolutely like, I was holding my chest. I had tears in my eyes. It was so sad.
And again, because it was so honest. Like you don't see that.
That's right.
That stuff. That's something even the best actors can't.
That's right.
Recreate when it's real and when it's genuine, and you're witnessing someone's total despair of watching someone in their family die.
Yeah.
Really, that it was. And then after that, you have her getting angry with her mom. And
look at what you made me. Look at what you're doing, Mom.
Yeah.
Look at my brother crying. This is what you've done. It's
so
the perfect addictive personality,
it totally
right?
Is. And
Turn
it's
it
not
around.
so much that you punched him in the face. It's, because you mother.
Yeah.
You're
making me this way.
And Candy was like, oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah. It was just, it was just classic.
Yeah, it was textbook. It was textbook like what you would write in a script of what the drug addict would say.
And then headbutts her mom.
Yeah, that
like
was awkward.
Mel
Like
Gibson
a rhino.
and Lethal Weapon, bam, headbutts her mom.
Yeah. I'm at
that
a loss
hurts.
for words.
I haven't had it done to me.
No.
But
I know it
know
was an awkward one too, because I don't know, back in the day, like in school, like people would get up in each other's faces
right, exactly.
and get like unnecessarily close.
Yep.
It was kind of like that, and then she kind of nudged, but she did something to like kind of push her, because then the mom was like, oh,
yeah,
and she like fell over, and again the brother kind of swooped in.
Police come.
Yes.
Cars, chaos, people running in the streets, brother sobbing on the street,
yes,
mom sobbing, Candy going like, what the heck? I mean, it was just...
I don't know if you noticed, there were people looking in the windows and out the doors, like just hanging out on their porches, because it literally was a circus in the middle of the streets of...
Yeah. Manteca. Beautiful Manteca, California.
Yeah, it was intense.
Yeah. And then she speeds off in the car, and Candy says she's clearly not ready, and she thinks she's not addicted. That was one of the things that I thought was fascinating about this. I'm not addicted. I don't have a drug problem. I can stop,
Again, it's like textbook. Yeah. It's like the first step is accepting you have a problem. Mm-hmm. She wasn't taking that first step.
Nope. But again, Candy comes in with the kindness and says, look, this looks like a failure, but it is a success, because you've all done everything that you can. You brought everything that you had to the table. You've given her all the love that you could, and now it's the time for you to...
They have to heal themselves.
Hold your bottom lines, and see where it moves from here.
Nothing happened. It was such a... Do you see how I'm like a stuttering mess? Because I can't believe that nothing...
It was unfulfilling.
Yeah, it was totally... You're just kind of left like...
Yeah.
Because most of the time, at least they would be like... They'll come back maybe like 24 hours later.
Right.
She called and agreed to go. No, she just didn't go. Didn't go. So it was definitely very... unfulfilling.
Yeah.
It's definitely the work.
And then we got a quick little couple of seconds at the end. 3 days later, she was arrested.
Yeah.
For meth use, was it?
I think so.
Meth selling. It had something to do with the meth.
Yeah.
Moved back in with the grandparents again. Awesome.
Yeah. Not cute.
And then 3 months later, gets kicked out of the grandparents' house.
Which I'm proud. I'm proud of
I
Mabel
know.
and Kenneth. Good for you.
Clearly, they
something
hit
happens.
something
Yeah,
with
something
them.
happened that was like...
Maybe they saw... that'd be interesting to know what it was that made them do a turn. Was it Lisa or one of the other grandkids talking some sense into them?
Yeah.
Was it them living with her and finally witnessing her? Was there an outburst of some sort? We don't know. Yeah. But then... The ultimate, what happened? She actually goes to treatment.
She did.
August 1st.
And what's great is that because her mom had gone
to Betty Ford.
Yes, and was sticking true to her to her bottom lines, and once she didn't have the grandparents to rely on, once she didn't have her mom and stuff to rely on.
That's why it works.
Then she hit her bottom.
Yeah.
She was like, okay, I'm going to go.
That's why it works.
So she's been sober for, what do we count?
7 days.
Woo-hoo.
You know what?
Day by day.
Anything more than 4 at this point is a success, right?
Yeah.
Seriously. And but
credit.
not only sober for 7 days, but is in treatment right now, as far as we know.
As we know, yeah.
They're really up on their dates with this kind of stuff. And so 7 days sober, I think that's something to celebrate.
It is. So let's go. Everyone just turn on your radio and dance.
Let's go, Tiffany.
Yeah, let's go, Tiffany. 7 days.
But, again, we didn't get the awesome fulfillment that we were looking for, which was, that 3 months later, you see them like standing in a tranquil, on a mesa in Arizona, looking out at the Grand
boats.
Canyon and the whatever.
Boats.
And, the boats. The boats in Mesa, Arizona.
I meant to say water. Like, sometimes I'll have it at ocean.
Sure.
But boats, apparently.
And then, and always they look so much better,
They
right?
do. They like lost weight. Their skin is better. Like sometimes they get a new hairdo.
I was actually noting on my first page, I wrote that her face, her skin, when she was doing the picking, she actually looked like a Halloween mask to me.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it was really like creepy, odd. It didn't look real.
Yeah, and there was a couple shots too, because at some point they had started to put makeup on, but you saw some of the real, like wearing nothing.
Yeah,
just a raw face of open.
Yeah, and
open
I was sad that we didn't get to see that turn.
I know that's the most exciting part about this show is that you get like so many shows wrapped in one. It's like this intense drama.
Yes.
And then sometimes scary.
Yes.
And then sometimes it's funny.
Yes.
To be honest, sometimes there's funny things going on.
Yeah.
And then it's sad. And then at the end it's like, yay, it's like a makeover show, and you get to see them, like the happy ending, hopefully, they've learned some, tools to live a better life, and they're looking better, they're fit, they're feeling, better. No, this was just completely off the grid.
Yeah. But I bet you they will do a follow-up with her.
I need them to.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I'll be tapping my toe until
request the follow-up with Tiffany D. We'd like the follow-up, okay?
Yeah, I need it.
Yeah, because it was such a compelling episode, such a compelling character, and we didn't really get into the things that we normally get into, how she was going to deal with the loss of her in her family, like with not having a father around, and the molestation and all of these, the psychological issues that invariably lead to this kind of addiction. We didn't get into that at all, and I'm gonna need that. So
that's all I want for Christmas this year. That's my grown-up Christmas list.
So we never have news and gossip on this show because it's impossible to get news and gossip unless we're talking about the interventionists. And Candy looked good. Let's make that our news and gossip. Is that she looks really good. I think she may have had a little,
really? I don't know.
Yeah.
There was one shot where it didn't look like she had any kind of makeup on or anything. I was like, ooh,
but
Cindy.
her
a little rough.
Her skin looked better than it has lately.
Well, it was better than Tiffany's.
I don't want to call her out or anything, but I think Candy looked good. So let's just go straight to predictions for Tiffany. What do you think will happen with Tiffany?
And now your AfterBuzz
nice.
TV.
I don't know. She was pretty far in there.
Yes.
So my prediction, what's coming to me, is that she'll stay for a little bit. She's gonna
rebel.
She's gonna get out. Mm-hmm. And I'm hoping that again something will happen, and then she'll go back, and maybe that time.
So she'll have a relapse, but then
yes, I don't think she's gonna stay with the program.
Yeah.
At this specific one, I think she was at a care unit in Florida. Yeah, I don't think she's gonna stay there. I think she's like so far in and so resistant. Like I don't think in what was
21 days or 30 days or whatever.
Yeah, that it's gonna work, and I don't think that she had enough time to really make the right decision in going. Well, it was the right decision in going. I'm just saying that I don't think that she had enough time to be like, yes, I'm ready, I should go.
And she's a little bit older than some of these, and has had a little more life than some of these, and has been addicted longer than some of these kids. Some of them, they get addicted when they're 16 and they're going to treatment at 20, but she's 16 and 25 now, has child, has been selling drugs.
Yeah.
So sort of, I'm kind of adding on to what you were saying, that she's really deep in it. Not dealing with all of the issues that got her there, and not even being willing to see that her life is bad and that she has an addiction.
Yeah.
So
she didn't even know that. So I think it's going to be a very rude awakening for her when she goes and realizes and really has to kind of open these wounds that weren't properly dealt with before, and it's going to be very scary, and it's going to be very hard, and she's going to want to run away, and she probably will.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping, my hope is that be like, okay, that wasn't that bad. I can go back now with, some other experience to be like stronger in facing those type of demons.
But I think the one thing that is going to be the crux of her recovery is this son that she has.
Oh yeah.
And, she may relapse, but if she does, if her family, if anybody who's holding her accountable reminds her that she's here for her son. She clearly loves him. And the only way she's going to be able to continue a relationship with him, and he's getting older. He's getting older. Look like 6 years old or something like that.
Yeah.
Clearly not a baby anymore, very conscious of what's going on. That's going to be the thing that I think will be the thing that will make or break her.
Yeah. That's what I hope.
Yeah. So, but we have great hopes for Tiffany, and
we're sending good energy.
This is it was a riveting episode.
It was.
And as Jesse, had to kind of interrupt us just to get us to stop talking about it. I think it was really great, and I'm very hopeful for Tiffany. So, yeah, best of everything to her, and we definitely
and the family. There's a lot of healing that has to go with, the brothers who have to kind of do their own relationship with their parents that's not contingent to the fact of her mom being obsessed with,
and they've got damage. They've got damage that they have to fix as well too. Kind of being robbed of a young adulthood / adolescence because their sister was stealing and hogging all of the energy and all of the everything, the attention, the energy, and
I'm sure it was hard on her marriage too, Lisa's marriage.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot that they all kind of need to work on.
Yeah.
And what do they say? It's a family disease or?
Yep.
It just affects everyone.
Yep, it does indeed. So I guess that's it for this week of Intervention. So join us next week, and hopefully we'll see something maybe a little tamer.
Yeah,
I don't know.
We need to catch our breath a little.
Yeah.
So give us a couple weeks.
Yeah, exactly. So join us next week for Intervention. See you then.
From producers Kevin Undergaro and Phil Svitek, engineer DJ Jesse Janity, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. If you have questions or comments, be sure to buzz us at info@AfterBuzzTV.com. And you can find us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter by searching for AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.